I swear, sometimes people really just need to leave well enough alone. So, if you haven't heard, if you are unaware, the American animated sitcom King of the Hill has recently been rebooted, or revived, might be a better word, or better yet, disinterred and Frankensteinishly reanimated. But however you want to put it, semantics aside, I wanted to uh, say a few words on the topic because of my own personal connection to that show. So, um, to put it succinctly, the show King of the Hill really means the world to me. Like, my affection for that show is immense. Some background growing up, I and my parents used to watch that show like religiously. It is, in my opinion, or the first three seasons at least of that show are, in my opinion, among the greatest television in history. Like, again, the first three seasons of King of the Hill are right up there with like All in the Family and Cheers and Seinfeld. Like, it is one of the finest sitcoms that America has ever produced. Did it fall off somewhat in the later seasons? Yes, it did, but it never went into like full on Simpsons territory where it's just like watching a dog that's been run over by an 18 wheeler and just like grotesquely mangled, but yet is somehow still clinging to life and trying to drag itself across the asphalt. And you're just standing there weeping, begging for somebody just to shoot it and put it out of its misery. It thankfully never went into that territory, or at least not until now, anyway. The show was always at least good. Again, the first three seasons of it are like the true like golden age. What I consider just to be some of the greatest television sitcom writing ever done. But like I say, it was always at least good, and it ended on a pretty strong note. It ended its original run pretty strongly in 2009, was it? And you know, I was appeased. I was content with what it was, how it ended. I was content with its run, and so when I heard that they were gonna reboot it or revive it or whatever you want to call it, I was like, really? Do we really need to do that? Like, are we so bankrupt when it comes to creative ideas now for entertainment that we have to go back and dig up everything and drag it out beyond its expiration date? So I was very wary of what the reboot or revival or whatever you want to call it would be. And there was a couple of reasons for that. One, so much of the cast had died that I didn't really know if it was going to be feasible. Like, Brittany Murphy died, Tom Petty died, the guy who played Dale, I don't remember what that actor's name was, but he died. And Dale was like, you know, one of like the heart, kind of the comedic heart of the show, more or less, right? So I didn't really know that it was going to be feasible to really recapture the same magic. But another major reason why I was hesitant to get enthused about the reboot or revival is because King of the Hill was a product of a different era. Late 90s, early 2000s was a different era from the world we live in today. And the perspective of the humor and the overall outlook of that show was decidedly distinct from virtually any other uh, show going. Like, it was not afraid to poke fun at things that, again, virtually no other show would have dared to touch, and it was also not afraid to kind of fall back on some like more traditional kind of conservative viewpoints and values that you just didn't really see any other show that would really like endorse. Uh, and it was absolutely savage. Again, the writing in those first three seasons is just priceless. The jokes were like machine gun fire. They were funny. It was witty as hell. Again, it was just absolutely savage. And again, it was a product of a different time. And here we are in 2025. Things are radically more touchy uh, than they were in the show's original run. So I was like, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to, uh, again, drag something out beyond its expiration date and try to fit uh, a square peg in a round hole and try to reanimate something that is probably not going to fit very well in the modern milieu? So, needless to say, I had very low expectations when it came to the new season of the show, and they were not met. Like my expectations were barely off the ground, and they were not met. The show, the 14th season, I think it's the 14th season, the new season anyway, of King of the Hill is, in my opinion, nothing short of appallingly bad. Like appallingly bad, at least in comparison to what it once was. And it rips my heart out to have to say that because of how much I loved that show in its glory days. Like, again, my family and I used to just watch that show so much, not only because of how funny it was, but also because of how authentic it was. You know, the show was popular, definitely, but I don't know that people uh, who don't live in a small southern town can fully appreciate just how true to life that show actually was. Like King of the Hill was so on point to what uh, small town southern life is like. Like it was just so real and it was so relatable. And again, that's why my parents and I, my family loved it so much because it was so relatable. It felt so real, so authentic. And again, the writing of it was just so sharp. And so when I finally did tune in to the new season to see what it was going to be like, I was truly flabbergasted by the drop off in quality from the old to the new. So up front, I want to admit right now, I think there are like 10 episodes in the new season. I was only able to stomach two. And now you may say, isn't that kind of in bad faith to pass judgment on something that you haven't even seen in its entirety? Yes, it may be, but literally, I could not stomach more than just the first two episodes. I couldn't do it. I could not sit through more than the first two episodes because of how bad it actually was. So it might be in bad faith a little bit to, be reviewing the new season of a show that you haven't even watched entirely. But it's my channel. I can do whatever the hell I want. And again, that show meant the world to me. And just to see how shockingly far it has fallen from the old to the new, again, I just have to comment on it, even though I could only get down two of the episodes out of the 10, I think. But anyway, so let's just talk about why it is so bad, because it is like night and day. The old show, again, especially in the first three seasons, was not only was the comedy of it just so sharp and so just rapid fire, but it also had so much heart. Again, that's the hallmark of such a great sitcoms, that you have comedy and pathos in equal measure, because it wasn't always just about jokes. There was also a real heart to it, of a very straight laced, old fashioned father trying to connect with his young son, which kind of in many ways defies his conventional conceptions of masculinity and such. But there was a real heart to the show of family, nuclear family, right, trying to navigate the pitfalls of adolescence and intergenerational divide and everything, right? Again, it, for every joke, it also had some very like touching moments, right? And again, that's just the hallmark of such a great sitcom. But all of that's gone in the new season, or at least of what I watched of the new season. It has no humor to speak of. It ever made me laugh anyway, and it has no heart left at all. It is just a hollow shell of its former self. First of all, let's talk about the animation. The animation is crap now. The original show, especially like in the first season, was not like the animation maybe was a little bit rough. in the first season, but like it was real deal like animation. Like this was something somebody actually drew and illustrated. Uh, you could tell this was like the product of like a human hand anyway. But now it's the most lifeless corporate type bland animation that you've seen like a million times probably before. It has nothing left to set it apart. It feels flat. It feels like a coloring book. Like the hues and the tones of the original show's animation were generally pretty well done. It felt like it had depth, and it felt like real like texture to stuff. I mean, I don't know how to explain it any better than that. Like it felt like a real, I mean, it looked like, again, it just looked real. Now it just looks like a bunch of stickers that somebody pasted onto a background. Like it looks like something that you did in like Microsoft Paint. It just looks like crap. It feels bland. It feels flat and depthless, and it has no distinction to it anymore. But beyond just the aesthetics of it, the writing now is just piss poor. And first of all, like it doesn't even feel like a show, or at least it doesn't even feel like the same show. Because the cool thing about King of the Hill, and the cool thing about most like genuine quality sitcoms, is that every episode tells like a story. Like every episode, even if it's only like 20 to 30 minutes in length, tells a story. And King of the Hill was great. Again, especially in those first three seasons, it was great at telling like a compact but very in-depth little story every episode. Now it like there's barely anything that I can even call narrative to the show. Like it just feels like a bunch of random crap slapped together in with the most tenuous of narrative threads holding it all together. Like it feels like Family Guy. Like that freaking breaks my heart to have to say that, but like it feels like Family Guy. Like, you know, Family Guy is just like the most low IQ, lowbrow type entertainment that's mainly just directed at like college frat boys who are like baked out of their mind. It feels like it has like there's no narrative hardly at all. And there's nothing really happening. It's just a series of loosely connected skits. That's what the new season of King of the Hill feels like. It like there's no cohesion to it. It doesn't flow. It just feels like a bunch of random scenes slapped together that have barely any connection. And like the scenes don't even last. Like I swear the scenes only last like 10 to 15 seconds at a whack. Like there's no, it doesn't like focus on anything. It feels very ADHD like Family Guy. Like it feels like it is just flying through stuff. And the jokes, like there are no jokes. Like there's scarcely anything even approaching humor, or at least to me, in the new show. Like, and again, that was one of my biggest fears, is that the original show was a product of a different era where things weren't quite so touchy, where we could, you know, laugh at things. There weren't so many sacred cows. And so I knew when I even heard that they were going to redo the show, bring it back, right? That I was like, they're not going to be able to do the same humor that they did. They're not going to be able to, you know, they're going to step on some toes if they try to do the same kind of jokes that they did in the old days. And again, I was vindicated. It was just the most low hanging fruit. Again, I did not chuckle even once out of the two episodes that I actually watched. It was just painfully flat, just nothing even approaching like an actual punchline. The setups just don't work. And again, let's talk about the absence of some of the original cast members, most notably with Dale. Again, Dale was just like kind of one of the comedic uh, powerhouses of that show, and like the guy who played him tragically died. And I don't know if they just tried to find a voice actor that sounded remotely like him, or if they may be using like some kind of AI recreation of his voice. I don't know, but it sounds horrible. Like it is bad. Like the voice, again, I don't know if it's an actual human trying to imitate the old actor, or if it's like them trying to just recreate his voice using AI. I don't know, but it's bad, like very bad. It fluctuates all over the place. It has no like normal human inflection to it. It feels like a robot reading lines. And of course, they obviously knew that because they sidelined that character so much. Again, Dale was always front and center in the old show because he was one of the prime sources of the comedy. But in the new season, he's often just off in the wings most of the time because every time that character opens his mouth, it's just painfully apparent what we're missing. And like the its attempt to engage with like modern issues like the pandemic and stuff, it's just it doesn't work. Like it just feels like a completely different show. It feels ugly, and again, I mean that in a very literal aesthetic sense. Like the animation feels generic, corporate, just soulless. That's the best way to describe the whole thing. It's just soulless. The animation is flat. It looks like a bunch of stickers on a background. Uh, the the characters again they're just not equipped really to function in the new social milieu. The jokes, the writing is just piss poor. Or at least what I was able to watch of it was just piss poor. Like not a single attempt at a joke landed, and there's no heart left to it at all. Like there's no like tender, like heartfelt moments to it. It's just the most soulless crap that I've ever seen. And like it hurts me to say that because again, that show used to mean the world to me. Again, me and my family just we watched that show religiously because it was funny, because it was touching, and because it was just so relatable and how real it was. And now it has nothing. Like nothing. It feels like Family Guy again, and it pains me to say that, but it feels like Family Guy. And like after I finished watching the second episode, I was like, I'm done. I just can't suffer through any more of this. I cannot see what they did to something that was so good and how bad it is now. I felt like Vito Corleone, like in The Godfather, right? Like, look at how they massacred my boy. Like that is what I felt like watching this. So after the second episode, I was done. But I was like, I have to address this. Like, I looked it up here on YouTube. I was like, what are the reviews like? I didn't really find a whole lot of people. I really didn't find a whole lot of anything actually like reviewing it. So I wanted to get out here and just say, like, if you were a fan of King of the Hill back in the day and you thought, like I do, that the original show was just a fantastic show, especially again the first three seasons are just some of the best sitcom writing ever. Like, I mean, the first three seasons of that show are right up there with All in the Family and Cheers. Like, it's that good to me anyway. If you are a fan out there of the old show, like, do not bother with this new season because it is horrible. It is a disgrace to the original. It is a bastardized, perverse, shambling, hollow shell of its former self and its former glory. And like, it hurts me to have to say that, but I had to say it because justice has to be served. Like, Mike Judge, what the hell were you thinking? Like, you might have been able to do that with Beavis and Butthead and kind of just roll right into the new age with that show. I don't know. I was never really a huge fan of that show, but King of the Hill, like, it deserved better. Like, the writing is just not there. The humor is just not there. The pathos, the heart of it is just not there. It just feels like generic corporate schlock that has no reason to exist, and I really wish it didn't exist. Like, that pains me so much to say that. I wish it did not exist. I wish it had stayed dead. What in the ever-loving hell were you thinking, Mike Judge? You ruined it. Like, you took something that was so great, that was so sharp and so witty, and you ruined it. You absolutely ruined it. It sucks. Here's hoping that it does not get renewed for a second new season because it doesn't need to be. Just let it lie, let it rest with whatever dignity it has left. It is that bad. Anyway, so yeah, do not look into the new season of King of the Hill because it is horrendous, or at least in my opinion it is. But if on the off chance you have watched it out there, or like I say, if you are a fan of the old show, let me know down in the comments your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. And stay away from the new show if you haven't, because it's horrible. And as always, if you have enjoyed anything you've seen or heard here today, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And until next time, peace.